Hi, I'm from Golden Aging Health, and today I want to share something very close to my heart. My dad is 55. His Alzheimer's started like this, slowly and quietly, and I want to help you recognize the early signs before it gets worse. I'm here to help you spot those early signs, so you and your loved ones can take action before things get worse. As we age, it's easy to brush off memory loss, confusion, or other little changes as a normal part of getting older. But in my experience, ignoring these early Alzheimer's symptoms can make all the difference in how quickly the disease progresses. Today, I'm going to walk you through 7 key signs of Alzheimer's that I personally noticed in my dad. Recognizing these signs early could change the course of treatment and care, and make it easier to maintain a good quality of life for you or your loved ones. Early detection is everything when it comes to Alzheimer's disease, and in this video, I'll share exactly what to look for, so you don't have to wait until it's too late. Before we get started, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. Trust me, you'll want to stay until the end because I'll be sharing important tips for taking care of your brain and preventing it before it's too late. Number 7. Sign: withdrawal from social activities. One of the early signs of Alzheimer's that I noticed in my dad was his gradual withdrawal from social activities. He used to be very sociable, always eager to attend family gatherings, play cards with friends, or attend community events. But over time, he became less interested in socializing. At first, it was just a common excuse. He said he was tired or didn't want to go out, but then it became a habit. He started avoiding family gatherings and stopped calling friends, even those he had known for years. This social withdrawal isn't always immediately noticeable, but it can be one of the first signs of dementia or Alzheimer's. According to the Mayo Clinic, people with Alzheimer's often begin to withdraw from social interactions due to cognitive decline or because they feel uncomfortable in situations where they can no longer follow conversations or activities. For my dad, this loss of interest in social activities was subtle at first, but gradually became more obvious. This social withdrawal may be associated with feelings of shame or frustration, as the person may begin to feel like they can't follow conversations, remember names, or fully participate in activities. It's important to realize that this isn't just a preference for solitude. It's often a sign of cognitive decline. Next, I'll discuss another important sign: difficulty with familiar tasks. You may not realize this, but it's an important early warning. Stay tuned for more. Have you noticed any changes in your loved one's social habits? Share your experiences in the comments below. Number 6. Sign: difficulty with familiar tasks. Another important early sign of Alzheimer's that I saw in my dad was his increasing difficulty with familiar tasks. He had always prided himself on managing his home, cooking, and doing his own paperwork. But over time, I noticed him struggling with even the most routine tasks, like forgetting how to prepare a favorite dish or getting confused by a simple television remote. At first, it was just a small confusion, needing help to remember the steps of a recipe he had made countless times. But soon it became more obvious. He would forget what he was doing in the middle of doing it, like putting clothes in the washing machine, and then lose focus, leaving it unfinished. Research from the National Institute on Aging, NIA, also shows that functional difficulties with these daily activities are one of the first warning signs of Alzheimer's. These tasks are affected by the way Alzheimer's disease affects brain function, especially in areas responsible for planning, organization, and memory. If your loved one starts getting lost in tasks they've done 1,000 times, don't brush it off. It might be one of the earliest cries for help their brain is trying to send. Do you ever forget your daily routine? Type yes in the comments if you have too. Number 5. Sign: Misplacing Things. You may have heard of Glenn Campbell, a famous country singer who struggled with Alzheimer's disease. He publicly shared how he started misplacing things during the early stages of his illness. Campbell's experience shows that this isn't just an issue of forgetfulness. He once admitted that he couldn't remember where he'd put his car keys, and that was before his diagnosis. For him, this moment marked the beginning of a slow decline that eventually led to Alzheimer's disease. For my dad, it wasn't just forgetting things all the time. He'd leave his wallet in the refrigerator or lose his watch in strange places. This isn't normal forgetfulness, but a classic sign of Alzheimer's. Harvard Health explains that people with Alzheimer's struggle to retrieve memories because the frontal lobe, the area responsible for organization and decision-making, is impaired, meaning a person may forget they've put something in a safe place and only become frustrated when they can't find it. I remember one particular incident with my dad. He spent almost an hour looking for his keys. He finally found them in his coat pocket, right where he always left them. This is when I really realized that his memory and brain function were changing in ways that weren't just part of the aging process. What started as small, innocuous mistakes eventually escalated into bigger problems, like confusion in familiar environments, or even getting lost in places he had been to many times. Have you noticed someone misplacing things in unusual places? How did you support them through this? Comment below. Number 4. Sign: changes in mood and personality. Alright, let's dive into one of the more surprising signs: changes in mood and personality. This one was a real game changer for me when I saw it in my dad. One minute, he was cracking jokes, the life of the party, and the next, he was suddenly angry or anxious over the smallest things. Alzheimer's was making him act in ways he never had before, and it really caught me off guard. According to Harvard Health, Alzheimer's damages the parts of the brain responsible for regulating emotions, leading to things like irritability, anxiety, and even paranoia. So, if your loved one suddenly becomes agitated, uncharacteristically anxious, or unreasonably suspicious, it's time to take note. These are Alzheimer's symptoms in disguise. My dad, a lifelong gardener, was out in the yard, trying to plant some flowers, but when he couldn't remember how to do it, he got frustrated. And I mean really frustrated. He even snapped at my mom, something he never did. It was like a switch flipped. That's when I realized this wasn't just a mood swing. This was a warning sign of Alzheimer's affecting his brain. But here's the important thing. Early detection can make all the difference in managing these changes. The sooner you spot them, the more you can intervene and control the behavior with understanding. So don't panic if you notice mood swings. It's not the end of the world. With the right care, we can help our loved ones feel comfortable, even when these mood swings occur. But wait, don't go anywhere. At the end of the video, I'll share some practical tips on how to manage these mood swings and help your loved one feel more comfortable. You don't want to miss this. Number 3. Sign: difficulty with communication and storytelling. According to Harvard Health, Alzheimer's disease impacts the areas of the brain responsible for language, memory, and communication. As a result, people often struggle to convey their thoughts, tell a coherent story, or even keep track of what they were talking about. Ronald Reagan, 40th President of the United States. After being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, Reagan's family reported that he began to struggle with remembering names and events. In the early stages of the disease, he found it increasingly difficult to share anecdotes or recall details from speeches that he once gave easily. Difficulty with storytelling often becomes more noticeable over time. It may seem like harmless forgetfulness at first, but it can be a sign that the brain is losing the ability to organize and express thoughts. This leads to repeated conversations, where the person may retell the same story multiple times without realizing it. Do you find it difficult to communicate or tell stories with loved ones? Share your story. Number 2 sign: difficulty with time and place. One of the most noticeable early signs of Alzheimer's that I saw in my dad was difficulty with time and place. I remember one afternoon when my dad drove to the local store, a place he visited often. When he returned home, he was completely confused. He asked me how to get home because he couldn't remember the way. He had always been independent, so I realized something was wrong. What had started out as a rare occurrence became more frequent, and it was no longer just times that he was forgetting, but entire moments, events, and places. According to the Mayo Clinic, people with Alzheimer's often have difficulty recognizing familiar places or understanding where they are, even in settings they frequent. They may forget important dates or events, and they may get lost in places they once found easy to navigate. Alzheimer's affects the brain's ability to organize and remember information, which is why people start to struggle with spatial awareness and time management. For my dad, confusion is not just about forgetting where he is, but also about the emotional toll. It was hard to see him so upset and disoriented in his own neighborhood, but it also made me realize how important it is to recognize these signs early. That's why it's so important to be patient and supportive during these times, as the person may feel embarrassed or upset because they don't understand what's going on. But that wasn't the worst warning sign we saw. What happened next was even more heartbreaking and harder to ignore. Number 1 sign: poor judgment and decision making. We've saved one of the most dangerous and common signs of Alzheimer's is poor judgment and decision making. I first noticed this in my dad when he started making choices that were completely out of character. For example, he once made a major financial decision without consulting anyone and then couldn't explain why he made it. His decisions, which had always been considered irrational, seemed to become more impulsive and sometimes reckless. This decline in judgment is one of the most dangerous signs of Alzheimer's because it is often not immediately recognized as a symptom of the disease. Poor decision-making can occur in all areas of life: finances, personal relationships, and daily routines. People with Alzheimer's may start making decisions that seem illogical, such as wearing clothes that are not appropriate for the weather or neglecting personal hygiene. According to Harvard Health, Alzheimer's disease affects the parts of the brain that control planning, problem-solving, and decision-making. These changes can make it difficult for a person to assess risks, think through consequences, or make even simple choices that they could previously handle without hesitation. For my dad, it wasn't just about making one bad choice. It was about a pattern of bad decisions that accumulated over time. Small mistakes turned into larger concerns that made it difficult for him to maintain his independence. Have you ever noticed poor judgment in someone you love? Share your stories in the comments below and let's help each other. To sum up what we've talked about today, Alzheimer's is a progressive disease, but early detection can be completely reversible. By recognizing the early signs, whether it's personality changes, language difficulties, poor judgment, or disorientation about time or place, we can take action and get the right support as soon as possible. These signs are often subtle, but it's the call to pay attention and ensure we get the help we need in a timely manner. If you or a loved one is experiencing any of these signs, I encourage you not to wait. Start today by eating nutrient-dense, amyloid, reducing foods, cutting back on sugar, refined carbs and alcohol, supplementing with DHA from natural foods, exercising regularly to increase blood flow to the brain, and interacting with a group regularly. Also, stay calm and patient. When your loved one is experiencing mood swings, it is important to stay calm. Your calmness helps them feel safer and less anxious. Acknowledge their feelings with compassion. Saying something like, "I understand you are upset," helps them feel heard and understood. Maintaining a consistent daily schedule will help reduce confusion and anxiety, helping your loved one feel more at ease. Remember, you are not alone in this. With care, patience, and early action, we can manage Alzheimer's and help our loved ones feel comfortable and supported. I am here to support you. If this video was helpful to you, please subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos on how to keep your brain healthy as you age, and health tips for seniors. I wish you health, wealth, and happiness.